There we go. Okay, now it's started. Good evening, everyone. This is the Coaches and Coxswains meeting for the National Invitational Rowing Championship and the Patriot League Championships held on Lake Quinsigamond in Worcester, Mass. on Friday, May 12th. My name is Thad Gamula, and I'm with the local organizing committee and the Quinsigamond Rowing Association, also known as the QRA. I will be hosting this. And to kick things off, I would like to introduce the commissioner of the Intercollegiate Rowing Association, Gary Caldwell, to say a few words. Gary?
Thank you, Thad. I'll only take a couple of minutes of your time. I have a short statement I want everybody to hear. And that is the championship experience starts with an LOC, all of our staff, including Tom Sullivan, Regatta Director, Linda Murray from our office, Katie Boldvich, Chief Ref Kathleen, Thad from the local organizing committee, Patrick, Jason, Larry from WPI, Andrea and Jim from Holy Cross, Mike from Clark, their assistant coaches and volunteers. All of you from schools outside of the Worcester area need to know that those coaches not only do their own regular jobs like your coaches do, but without their support and hard work all spring, there'd be no race course in Worcester and there'd be no championship experience. For those of you who are participating, for some of you, it's the last chance, your final championship experience. It's unknown for others, and it may be the ticket to an AQ or an at-large berth to the NCAA or IRA for some of you. Our goal as organizers and volunteers is to maximize your opportunity. All of us running these regattas and coaching your crews love and respect this amazing sport. We hope over your college experiences you have learned or will learn to love it too. Regardless, your obligation is to treat each other with respect, and that starts with your decorum at the starting line. The last 2 weeks of championships, we've had over 100 races, just 2 false starts, 1 collision in the starting area, and 1 coxswain late to the line, then stuck in the middle of lane 4, forcing boats to sit on the line for over 7 minutes last weekend. Coxswains, don't be that coxswain. We assume you all know how to scull a boat around at the start. If you don't, get up online tonight after this meeting and take a tutorial. Make sure your rowers understand that concept too. That's it for me. I wish you all fair and fast conditions and great racing on Friday. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Gary. Also with us tonight is the chief referee of the regatta, Kathleen Crow, who will jump in later in the presentation to go over the U.S. rowing rules and regulations side of things.
Sorry, Thad and Gary, just to interrupt. I know I have at least a coach and a coxswain that are still in the waiting room.
Okay. Yeah, so I see actually nobody in anything, and it did kick some people out just because of outdated versions. So I don't know if they need to update whatever they're operating on, but
okay, I'll let them know.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. First things first, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. At this time, could you please type the school you represent in the chat for the attendance? Now, seeing as we have some people who are not able to join, or I know there are some people on phones who have called in. Just if you're not able to type in, or if you don't feel like your school has been represented, just send an email to myself or to Gary saying you were there. That's all. That's all we ask. While we wait for the responses to come in, I would ask if throughout the presentation, if you find that you have a question, please save it for the end of the presentation and we will address it at that time. All right, so while I roll in, we're going to go ahead and continue forward. And we'll talk about practice. So for practice, it's tomorrow, Thursday, May 11th, between the hours of 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And then once again, it's going to be between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Just so everyone knows, the course is closed between 1:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Please be off the water before 1:30 if you practice in the earlier block. 7:30 is the time the course closes for the evening. Please be off in time as the park will close by 8. And just to go over the traffic patterns, for those of you launching from Regatta Point, which when you look at the diagram, it's on the lower, it's on the upper left, it's on the Worcester labeled shore. You will launch and immediately proceed north up the Worcester shore. You may go to the start outside the course, in lane 0 or in lane 1. Please note, our course is numbered 0 to 6 from left to right as you look towards the start from the finish. Please be aware there is no pressure heading towards the start. Uh, on the opposite side of the lake, for those launching from Donahue, or as I will reference it for the rest of the presentation, the DRC, and you can see it, it's labeled as the DRC just above the Shrewsbury town label on the diagram. You will launch from the south dock and proceed south outside the course along the Shrewsbury shore and head towards the finish. Please go around the finish and then proceed across the lake and turn again to go up the Worcester shore, similar to the pattern of those launching from Regatta Point. At no point should you go under the Route 9 bridge. This goes for anybody. That's the big blue bridge that's just past the finish. At no point will we go past that during practice or during the actual race day. Now, as everybody heads up the Worcester shore, please be aware of several things. Just north of the 1,000-meter mark, it gets narrow. This is only narrow on the practice day if you're outside of the course. There's a dock that sticks out into the lake. If you are in a lane, you don't need to watch out for it, but if you are outside the lane during the practice day, you just need to be aware. There's enough room for a boat to get past, but please just be aware of it. North of the 500-meter mark, there is the pump house, which has a yellow area around it in the diagram. Please be aware it is very shallow in that area. We do have it marked with buoys. Just be aware, if you go between the buoy and shore, you will most likely lose your skeg. You will then proceed through the 290 bridge and turn to go into your lane. Once again, it is lanes 0 through 6. Worcester Shore is 0. Shrewsbury Shore is 6. Lanes 3 and 4 are for pieces less than 1,000 meters, and lanes 5 and 6 are for pieces greater than 1,000 meters. Lane 2 is a dead lane. At no point should you be in it or cross it. There will be special positioned in the launch going up and down that lane. Please just stay out of the lane. All right. Moving on to race day traffic. And just before I touch upon the traffic pattern for the race, please be aware this is a Friday regatta. And the reason I say that is because I cannot stress how important it is that coaches and athletes advise their parents and friends and spectators that they know are coming. There is no parking in any lot or in the garages at UMass. That's on the Worcester Shore. That's the hospital. There will be almost no street parking except for team buses. We strongly recommend that visitors leave their cars at their hotels and take an Uber, taxi, or some other rideshare service to the race. UMass will be actively towing cars illegally parked on their campus. It is incredibly important that race spectators do not hinder access for emergency vehicles going to and from the hospital. And just please, coaches, we ask you to relay this to all parents and fans that you know are coming. We can't make this, clear enough. All right, back to the course traffic. Once again, if you're launching from Regatta Point, you will same procedure. You will proceed north along the Worcester Shore. At no point should you enter a buoyed lane headed to the start on race day. Please remember, when going past the 1,000-meter mark, it is very narrow. It will only be single file through that section. Absolutely no pressure in that area. In the event that there's a 7-boat race that it's going past, the referees will stop your boat just to let the race pass in that location. And then moving forward, once again, going north past the 500-meter mark, the pump house, and it is very shallow. I can't stress that enough. Really, along the course here, you are better off following the buoy line rather than the shoreline. But once again, don't get too close or cross over the buoy lines at any point. In the event that you're launching from the DRC, you will once again be launching off the south end of the DRC docks. You have two options. You can immediately cross the course and travel north to the start, up the Worcester shore, or head south along the Shrewsbury shore. If you choose to go across the course, please be aware of races. Make sure there's nothing on the line ready to go. Make sure there's obviously not a race barreling down at you. Just be very aware of what's happening. If you do decide to go south along the Shrewsbury shore, please stay out of the course. If you are not allowed to go south past the 1,500 meter mark, I will repeat that again. You are not allowed to go past the 1,500 meter mark. Please turn before that and cross immediately to the Worcester shore. Once again, be aware of races. Anything coming down, just wait. Better safe than sorry. Once everybody's on the Worcester shore and traveling north, once again, north of the shallows, you will enter the start cove through the small, non-racing span of the 290 bridge. At no point should there be pressure going through this span. Once again, I'll repeat, no pressure really in the first 500. So from the pump house all the way into the cove, no pressure, no racing starts, nothing. Now shifting to the cove in the starting area, the cove behind the start is a clockwise pattern around 3 large white buoys. Please go around them and not go through them. They're very easily seen. Just be aware. We go around them. Also note the area in red in the back of the cove. Do not enter it as it becomes difficult to hear the starter, and we don't want anyone to get a warning or miss their race. There's plenty of space to practice in the cove. Just once again, please be aware of your surroundings and watch for other crews. You will be invited to enter the course by the starter. Please be in numerical order when entering the course. You will travel between the pier and the Shrewsbury shore. Once you get past the pier, you will turn 90 degrees and row to your lane. You will then turn again and back down into your stake boat. Numerical order is important, so we do not impede anyone's progress getting to the starting line as quick as we can. So this is that 290 bridge I'm talking about. What you're seeing is essentially if you were standing in between those 3 large buoys, that looking straight down the course to the finish line. The small span on the Worcester shore, like I said, is where you're going to enter the practice area. The very large span is what you race under. You can see the stake boats in place. They're visible barely, and then off to the left you see the entrance to the start. You'll be going through next to that pier and the Shrewsbury shore, and that's how you will enter the start. And at this point, I would like to introduce the chief referee, Kathleen Crow, who will explain the race procedure. The race procedures and the rules. Kathleen.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining this evening. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow and then Friday. So I'm from Seattle, Washington. You have referees here from pretty much all over the country, and we're pretty happy to be here. Looking forward to racing. I am, as per usual, we're going to focus on safety and fairness. I am assuming you know the rules, you know how most of this works. I'm just going to tell you the things that are kind of points of local interest, we will call them. So first thing that we always say, if you have athletes in your boat that could require something like an inhaler, it should be in the boat with them, not on the trailer or whatever else you might think to do. First aid, there's first aid on the water, at DRC, at Regatta Point. If you need help, get help. Particularly when you come through the finish, you know the whole raise a hand for a protest. If you have a medical problem, don't be sedate in one hand. Be like a couple people waving, frantically yelling, so that we know that this is not you objecting to something. So that's the big safety thing. So tomorrow, Coxswains weighing in. Remember, you need to be in your racing uniform, torsos covered. It's your responsibility to both construct your weight and not lose it, and to carry it with you in the boat. So we're not holding weights for you. We will check dead weights at the finish. It needs to be with you, not with your foreseat. Coxswains and bow loaders, do not get yourself wedged by the weight, right? Put it someplace. I realize it's hard for you to pick it up when it's behind your seat rest. That's fine. I'd rather it be hard to pick up than you get wedged between it and the hull. Okay, We've heard the traffic patterns and everything. I'm going to emphasize, do not, on race day, do not go down and around the finish. Make sure you cut across. When you're launching, move with purpose, but do it safely, right? No running, no skidding, but be purposeful. There are other people who need to use the docks as well. And also, we are telling you, and your boats have been certified as compliant, we might just check the occasional bow ball. So make sure that those are solid. Like if you hit somebody with it, it wasn't going to pop out of the way and hurt them. You're responsible for having all the things, your uniforms, the uniforms you're supposed to be wearing, heel ties, bow balls, etc. I want to go back to coxswain weights for something just for a minute. You need to, there are no practice weighings. You need to be ready to step on the scale. If you need to adjust the weight, that's fine, but be ready to go. This is not going to be a multiple iterations thing. So tiny adjustments, yes. All right, heading to the start. I think we've covered all of that. We are really, really keen on you not blowing past the race course while race is in progress. If you suffer break, like if something breaks on your boat, anytime after you launch, don't return to the dock. Get a hold of the nearest referee. If you're near the dock, yell at Control Commission. There will be referees coming by you. There will be referees. We're all over the place. Tell one of us so that we can come up with a fix for you the quickest way possible, particularly if the breakage is like up in the warm-up area, because we will find ways to get a new oar or whatever to you. So don't just take it on yourself to go deal with things, because then we don't know where you went. Okay, we've got you to the start. You're in the warm-up area. I am assuming that you have your own time devices. You know what time it is. You know what your race is, what time your race is. You know when you need to be queuing up for that. There will be a start marshal that will tell you to queue up for it, but you should be there. Ideally, you're in order from 0 or 1 up so that the far side boats go in first. This is a time for limited politeness. If lane 1 is not there or lane 1 is sunbathing, lane 2, when we tell you to go, don't tell us that lane 1 hasn't gone yet, because we know that. If they want to wait till the last minute and struggle through it, that's their choice. Let them do it. So get in lane number order as best you can, but we're going to move you in as quickly as we can. About this getting in there and locking on thing. I've hung out at the aligner before. I will tell you that the best crews I have ever seen do this came in and spun, and by the time they had finished spinning, I was at the aligner's point looking about at their bow seat or 2 seats. So they were all the way down in when they spun, so they only backed about 10 or 12 feet. The worst crews I've seen do this have backed down from the DRC. Your crews don't like it when you do that. We don't like it when you do that. It takes forever to do that. You have to be locked on at 2 minutes or you will get a warning. If we realize that you are not going to get locked on before your scheduled start time, the starter will consider just asking you to row off the course and exclude you. So this is a good time to think about, you should be spinning under the bridge, not out in the sunshine. This is critical. So we don't have time to watch you back down from the DRC, so please don't do that. Make sure that that you know how to have your stern pair backing while somebody up in the bow is sculling or tapping the point around. Like, those 2 things need to be able to happen at the same time. They don't take turns. So make sure you know how to do that. Make sure you know how to have your boat sculled around, because you may need to know it. And we would rather not coach you through that. So make sure you've got all that stuff nailed. You can practice in your lane, and the starter will tell you that. You can enter the course, practice in your lane. You have to be locked on by 2 minutes. I would like to emphasize in your lane, not in the adjacent lanes, in your lane. Let's see. It'll be a typical start. We will announce the names of the crews, unless things get really dodgy, and then it'll be a quick start. There, we do not recognize hands. You can put your hand in the air unless there is something severely wrong, like, hey, an alligator just surfaced in front of me, please remove it. We're not like, if you don't have your point, if you're going to go hit somebody else, we won't start it, but we're going to have a conversation. You have to be ready to race. Let's see. A thing about coming up to the start that we should talk about, I want to point out something about something that was already mentioned about if there's a 7-boat race. We will hold you just above the 1500, let's call it 1250. When we do that, we are going to hold you until the race comes by, and then we're going to tell you, have at it and go. Just realize that there will be somebody sitting there with you actively saying, stay off the course, stay off the course. So there will be somebody with you to hold you. So when somebody starts telling you stop there, that's what's about to happen. We will do our best to not throw wakes onto trailing crews, but there are limits. They are wakeless launches. We all know what that means. Just be aware that we're doing our best to not throw a wake on a trailer, but sometimes it happens. We will try not to. All right, if there's a problem at the finish, meaning you have an objection, raise your hand, referee will come over. You need to be able to say 3 things: what happened, how it affected you, and what you want done about it. Be reasonable, there are limits. And then we will make a decision. If you disagree with our decision, you can go protest on land. The decisions at the regatta are final. We will check dead weights at the final, or at the finish of the race. Also, somebody remind me, do we have, for NIRC, do we have an award stock?
We do.
Okay, so hopefully we can spin back up a map and tell you where the award stock is, but Coxswains, you're weighing in right in front of it, right? You're weighing in at Regatta Point. That dock that you see standing right outside the office, when we say award stock, that's what we mean. So when we're telling you go to the award stock in a certain order, we're basically saying go put your boat where you weighed in. And we will we'll tell you that, but I'm just trying to make sure you understand the place you're going, because that was a mystery on Saturday. Final thing, I will be there tomorrow for weigh-ins. So should you have a question, should you just want to figure out who I am, but should you really have questions, or you want to like ask me a question that you don't want to blurt out in front of 130 of your closest friends, come find me. I'm going to hang out all the way through the weigh-ins, and you can just come ask whatever it is. Where can we find the weigh-in schedule? It's at noon. Do we need more detail than that? I believe it's open at noon, right?
Yeah, I think the question was because last weekend we had specific times on a schedule. We don't have that this time, I believe.
Yeah. So
there are specific weigh-in times for the Patriot League Regatta, correct?
Yes, but that's not, yeah. Does Patriot weigh in Friday morning?
We do.
Okay, yeah. So sorry, when I'm saying noon, I'm talking NIRC. So at Regatta Point, noon. Patriot is by weigh-in, I believe, with weigh-in windows on, sorry, I'm having problems with days, on Friday, and I believe at the DRC. So Patriot Coxswains, I will be there for a while if you need to find me, but that's your weigh-ins.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there is also weigh-ins for the NIRC on Saturday morning, correct?
Friday, and I don't know.
Friday morning. I'm sorry, Friday morning. You
No,
said
I'm having the same which day is it problem.
Yeah. But you said Thursday is the weigh-ins for NIRCs, but there's also Friday morning weigh-ins.
I am waiting for our weigh-in person to weigh in on that, because I thought that they were all tomorrow. We will find that out, and if we don't find it out quickly enough, there will be an email about that.
We will not be there tomorrow, so.
That's a point. Okay, right. Okay.
Hi, Kathleen. I'll look it up if
Thank you.
want to keep going.
Kathleen, will you or other referees be available at Donahue during the Coxswains weigh-in?
So I believe that the weigh-in at Donahue opens at 6:15,
It
which
does.
by happy coincidence is exactly when the referee meeting starts. So we will all be there. We will all be in the meeting. I will be there, like I won't head across to Regatta Point until, I will be there for a while. So if you catch me early enough, yes, I will be roaming around. And if not, as soon as I turn loose the referees to go find their boats, I will be around for a while after that.
Thank you.
That is all that I have. If there are any other questions, again, like find me and ask me tomorrow if you're at Regatta Point, or take a shot at it at Donahue, and I'm happy to talk through things with you.
So it does specifically say noon on Thursday, May 11th. We do not have a additional note, but we will absolutely look it up for weighing in on Friday, the day of the regatta, and we will absolutely get back to you and email it out. Okay. Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes.
All right. So this is actually the map that Kathleen was asking for. Just so everybody's aware, the awards dock is labeled in yellow. It looks like, it doesn't look like a large T anymore. It almost looks like a large L, but it's absolutely correct. It's right in front of Regatta Point. So after your race is made official, please turn immediately to the Worcester shore, starboard, and clear the finish. Please watch for the shallows around the finish tower, and you may then proceed to your docks. If docking at Regatta Point, please wait until the dockmaster gives you the okay to land. If you are headed to the medals dock, and this is for grand final races only, you will be directed by the following official in reverse order to row and receive your medals. So if you're looking at the diagram, it's the purple dotted line. You go right into here, and then that's when you leave. You will be instructed by personnel on the dock to come in, and you will be instructed by the following official what order to go in. If you are headed to the DRC, please once again proceed north along the Worcester shore. Similar to the warm-up, once again, please ensure you are not in a buoyed lane following all the traffic patterns. And then please continue until you are north of the pump house. As long as the race is not ready to go or coming down, you are clear to quickly go across to the Shrewsbury shore outside of lane 6. You can then dock at the north dock. In the event of an emergency, first and foremost, follow the instructions of the public safety officials and the referees. We have all sorts of public safety officials on water and land, fire, police, EMS, EPOs. If the course needs to be evacuated, please be aware. Boats north of the 1,000-meter mark will immediately row to the DRC on the Shrewsbury shore. Boats south of the 1,000-meter mark will immediately row to the Regatta Point docks. Once again, listen to the public safety officials and referees. Their number one priority is your safety. And then as a quick wrap up, please, no public urination. Porta potties are provided throughout Regatta Point and throughout the DRC. Anything brought on the water by a crew must come off with the crew. No handing anything to stake boat holders, water bottles, clothing articles, nothing. They've been instructed not to accept anything. If you bring it on the water, make sure you bring it off the water as well. And with that, that's pretty much the entire presentation. If you have any questions right now, please submit them by chat. We did actually have one. Do Medaling Patriot League crews also go to the Wards dock? That's a very good question. And I am also not sure of that answer.
No,
Kathleen?
I think Andrea is answering as well. I believe y'all have a Patriot. I believe you have an awards things at DRC. So the awards dock thing at Regatta Point is NIRC.
All right. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. No, Linda, I think Linda's about to say the
Yes.
thing I was going to say. So,
Linda, go ahead.
Okay, just have a little bit of weigh-in information. To be clear, It
Mhm.
is in your packet. If you're a Patriot League racer, it's in your packet. If you're an NIRC racer, it's in your packet. But weigh-in for the Patriot League is Friday at Donahue, Friday morning at Donahue, as we've established. Weigh-in for the NIRC starts midday, I believe at noon tomorrow, and goes to 6:30 p.m. Bill, I'm very certain that there'll be a small accommodation window at the crack of dawn on Friday morning for anyone who is not arriving on Thursday. Hopefully I got the days right. Thursday, Friday. Thank you.
Yeah, and please do check the packets, your respective packets for the specifics of what your weigh-in parameters, when you do it, what you have to weigh, all those things. That's all in your packets.
Linda, could you explain crack of dawn, just because, I mean, my boat doesn't race till 11:20. They wouldn't normally be getting there at crack of dawn unless the coxswain needs to be there to weigh in at an earlier time.
Well, Bill, we've got to make it so that there can be an official and a referee there,
Yep.
and I'll
Yep.
have you reach out to Kathleen in order to set up an appropriate time, and it could be as early as crack of dawn. I feel like the cadets can handle it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bill.
I just saw another one come through. If you guys can, I think you have my email on, it's on the distro list. It's the KM Cuervo email. If you want to tell me that you need to come in for a Friday weigh-in, and that way I know who all I'm looking for and can figure out how we're going to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I don't believe we have any more questions. Once again, though, if you have anything and you don't want to bring it up, by all means, approach Kathleen, approach a referee when you see them, and ask. Everybody's very approachable. Just for everybody's knowledge, the recording of this meeting will be posted to the Quinsigamond Rowing Association YouTube page. I will also be sending out a link to distribute. And that's it. We thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow and Friday. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.